The virtual CISO moment is brought to you by vCISO Services, a leading provider of quality and experienced virtual chief information security officers for small and mid-sized businesses. Check them out at vcisoservices.com. Hi, I'm Greg Schaefer, and welcome to the Virtual CISO Moment. We're here at Montreat College at Retreat, and we have Michelle Pupoh here with us. She is with the Carolina Cyber Center. Michelle, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, absolutely. This is fun. Thanks.
So, tell us a little bit about what you do at the Carolina Cyber Center.
Sure. So my team and I, we built out our training program, and we help people get into cybersecurity, break into cybersecurity without having to go through the traditional 4-year degree path. So I lead our training school.
So, as a little bit of a background, can you give us a little bit about what the Carolina Cyber Center is and what its mission is?
Sure. Yeah. So Carolina Cyber Center started as a vision from Paul Maurer a couple years ago, really as to harden cybersecurity in the state of North Carolina. We partnered with the Department of, do you have the
We'll just keep on running through it. It's okay. We partnered with one of the departments, and
that's right.
We'll have it in the show notes afterwards. It's all good.
Yes, thank you. Sorry,
I couldn't remember Adam Bricker's name when I did the last podcast, and I just recorded about a half hour ago, and I just talked with him this past week.
Yes.
And so sometimes you lose it in the brain. So
yes.
So go on with the Carolina Cyber Center.
Yeah. So we got a grant from the North Carolina Department of Information Technology, and that's kind of how all this started. And they basically came to us and said, harden cybersecurity in North Carolina for us. And so we came up with really kind of two paths that we decided that we, as Montreat College, could really make a difference based on what we already do and what we already know. And so one is a training path. So we provide opportunity for people to get into cybersecurity without having to go through that 4-year degree. Mm-hmm. The other side is we actually run a small cybersecurity operations center. And that's really designed for small to medium-sized businesses who can't really afford to either hire a full staff or team for themselves, or they're not large enough to really pay the big guys, right? And so that's kind of our niche of where we fit in, is that we train cybersecurity students, and we've got this small cybersecurity operations center that helps support that.
And what is the relationship with Montreat College?
So we're kind of an arm. We're a branch of Montreat College.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And training, I know that one of your missions are to help folks that are transitioning from other careers, which in itself can be a really scary thing.
Absolutely.
How do you approach that, and like, what would be advice that you would give to someone who is thinking about transitioning?
Yeah, so, as kind of a career transitioner myself, right, I was set up to be a marriage and family therapist. Mm-hmm. And at some point I realized that this was not really I had made the right choice. And so career transitioned, and I think that there's a lot of fear at times for people and thinking maybe I'm a little too old, I'm a little too late, is my background valuable? In trying to break into this new industry. And so our training program allows people to continue to work, right? Because they still have to support their families and things like that. And so they hang on to their jobs, and then part-time over the course of a year, they join our program, and we give them everything that they need to really kind of break into cybersecurity. It's a certification-based program, which is what allows us to get you ready without actually having to get that degree. And so it's a great opportunity. My average student right now, honestly, is about 40 years old.
Wow.
And these are the people who they've kind of gotten to the point in their career either that maybe they've topped out at kind of the pay scale, and they recognize that there's only going to be incremental growth for them for the next, but they want to make more money. Right. And there's a lot more money in cybersecurity.
There is, yeah.
And so we have a lot of transitioners who kind of got to that point, or we've got a lot of educators, too, who are transitioning out of education. COVID really kind of did a number on our educational system in general. And so a lot of our educators are very tired, and they're wondering if there's something else that they can do. And so we've got a lot of educators that have gone through our program, too, and are transitioning into cyber. And so
I think that one of the most important things when you're in cyber is and I kind of use the term cyber. Sometimes I use the term cyber and information security interchangeably.
Yeah.
Generally, cyber is more of the technical side, and information security is more governance, at least from my point of view. But everybody has their own way to define it. But it's not just about being able to read the wire, so to speak, or the technical side of it. I think that you have to have some business acumen, because you have to understand the business that you're supporting. Do you see that those that are coming in later in life, transitioning, maybe have a little bit of an edge over some of the younger students?
I do, and it could be that business perspective of it, or honestly, it's just it's life,
Right.
you know. And we do have a track for high school students that are kind of coming out and they're not interested in doing the college thing. But typically when I'm looking at those students, I'm looking for those that have a little bit more maturity behind them, because this is a field that you need a little bit of maturity behind you. And so what I find is that my students who are a little bit older, they bring with them life experience, they bring corporate experience with them, they bring a lot with them, and so it's not as hard of a transition in the sense of, I mean, they're learning a lot of technical material, and kind of getting through that might be a little bit challenging at first, but it's almost like once you hear the language enough, you start to pick it up and you're like, oh, I finally get it, kind of thing. But it's the life experience, it's the work experience that people bring with them that really actually makes them very, very valuable in the work world, kind of thing. So,
Would you think, too, that maybe soft skills, like being able to communicate and...
oh, geez, yes.
Because I know that sometimes, particularly folks just starting in cyber, the younger ones that don't have the life behind them, the life experience, it's like they focus a lot on learning the technical, but then being able to explain what that means. Because eventually the threats that the technical side finds has to make it up through the chain to a point where the board of directors can understand it. And so each one in the chain there has to kind of understand how to translate it. I don't really want to know that there are 842,143 scans against TCP port 23. I don't want to know that.
Right.
But what does that
What
mean
does that
to the
mean?
business?
Right.
So do you see any sort of a differentiator there between younger folks and older folks?
We do, right? Because their whole career has been learning how to communicate. And
Right.
but we incorporate that into our program. We do a lot of the soft skills. We do a lot of the essential life skills training to make sure that our students are ready and able to communicate that. Because you're right, there's often very much so a disconnect between the technical person and the person kind of at the top, or the customer facing, and they're just like, I don't know what you're saying. Like, I hear you,
Yeah.
I don't really understand what you're saying, right? Because we can kind of get caught up in our own speak, if you will, our own language. And so being able to communicate what I know technically and understand that and give that in the context of, okay, what does this mean to me really, kind of thing. And so that's a part of our program, is really teaching as well, not only that technical path, but a lot of the communication skills, the essential life skills, character development, and things like that, to make sure that as you're going out, that you're not so focused just on the technical, that you've got the skills that translate to.
Absolutely. I frequently will tell people that the most important certification in cyber/information security that I ever got had nothing to do on the technical side. It was Toastmasters, Confident
Yes.
Communicator.
As I was just thinking about that, one of our programs does have a large Toastmaster, like they take the students through the Toastmasters
Really?
kind of thing. Yeah.
That is awesome. I didn't know that before asking that.
Yeah.
But it is so important, because Toastmasters, at least for me, when I went through it, and I went through it when I was at my second CISO gig, so I was already pretty seasoned,
Yeah.
but I realized I could communicate a little bit better.
Yes.
What it really helped me with was not so much how to speak clearer. I try not to do the ums and the so's and all that, but they get
Yes.
out every now and then.
Me too, right?
And I just did it.
And we did it.
But I learned how to listen better. And I think that that's so important in cyber, because you have to understand, again, this gets back to understanding the whole threat environment. It's not just the technical side, but the business side, and keeping up with the news and everything that's out there. So
That's right.
So what future plans for the Carolina Cyber Center training? Do you have anything specific that you're going to be expanding on that you can talk about anytime soon, or just kind of keep on going the way things are going right now?
Sure. There's a couple pieces of growth that we're leaning towards. One we're not quite ready to announce yet, but primarily what we've been focusing in on for the last 2 years has been entry level. And and getting people into those entry-level positions and getting them prepared for that. But over the course of 2023, is that we're expanding and really adding opportunity for people who are already in cybersecurity who need to upskill. They need that next level of certification. They need to upskill, that we're going to be offering those classes in order to kind of continue to harden the industry, right? Because one of the things that I found about cybersecurity is that it is an industry that you commit to lifelong learning.
Yes.
This is not a one and done, I've got my degree, I've got my certification kind of thing, and now I've got the job, and we're golden, right? Because cybersecurity continues to grow, and it continues to shift, and it continues to change, and so it's going into this field, you have to commit to lifelong learning, and so our plan is to continue to provide opportunities for people who've gone through our programs, others who are in the industry right now, to come back and to get those certifications that they need in order to continue that learning, so that nobody's falling behind, right?
Well, it sounds like that you're so passionate about this, and I love the fact that you bring that passion to helping others, and thank you so much for doing all that.
Yeah.
I usually ask at this point in time, well, what are your future plans? But it almost sounds like that your future plans are to continue growing the Carolina Cyber Center training.
Absolutely. You know, one of the big passions for me is education is opportunity. And when we continue to grow, when we continue to educate ourselves, it just continues to open up greater opportunity financially, opportunities to meet the right people and things like that. And so opportunity is that drives me, and not just my opportunity, but your opportunity. And it's a big deal for me when I think about what I'm doing here at the Carolina Cyber Center and why I do what I do, is that I get to see people literally change the destinies of their families. You've got guys who, some of the guys that have gone through our program, a couple of these guys were dental assistants and with young families, and they got to a point in their career where they said, this is it financially for me. And he says, but this is not where I want to be. And so being able to give him an opportunity at age 40 to change the financial destiny of his family, that excites me. And part of it is I came from a blue-collar family. My father worked on the line at General Motors for 30 years, and by golly, that man put 4 kids through college, and I'm exceptionally grateful, but things weren't what they are for me now, kind of thing. And so giving other people the opportunity who may not have been born into opportunity, those opportunities is really important to me and really exciting to me, because now this man has changed the destiny of his family.
Absolutely,
right? And that's really important.
Well, thank you so much. I love your story. I love the passion you bring into it, and I love what you guys are doing for the information security community.
Thanks. It's a pleasure. We love what we do, and we're grateful to be a part of it.
And we appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. And everybody, stay secure.